Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about something called geo-arbitrage, which is a fancy name for moving to a less expensive location from an expensive location and saving money. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I lived in Los Angeles for decades and was involved in the film business there, and it was great. It was great. As the years went on, anyway, I'll just talk about when I moved. So by the time I moved, I was living in a 225 square foot apartment. If you can picture that, it is small. And it was in a building with a bunch of other 225 square foot apartments with just one room basically, and no kitchen. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying how it was. And now they're charging $1,500–$1,600 for that. Extremely small. One bedrooms that weren't even that nice and were crowded, $2,600–$2,700 in Los Angeles. So, at a certain point, the traffic, the crowding, there's a lot of homeless in Los Angeles too, and a lot. And they kind of run them all downtown. I think they're working on getting more affordable housing there, but there's a guy who does a YouTube channel called Invisible People TV, Mark something. He interviews homeless people on the street, and he asks them what happened, who they are, and it really gives you a sense that these are ordinary people. At any rate, $2,600 a month is what, $30,000 a year for rent alone, and that's after taxes, $30,000. So, and that's not even to live like really nice. I mean, most of the one bedrooms. Now, granted, I was living in Brentwood, which is near Santa Monica and Westwood, and Brentwood, Beverly Hills adjacent, sort of, but Pacific Palisades, stuff like that. But I just lived there because it was a safe neighborhood. It was a bright neighborhood, but the crowding and everything was too much. At any rate, so I work from home. I'm an editor and a writer, so kind of got away from the film business. Still do a couple small things, but they don't pay very much at all. So I'm an editor and a writer, so I can work online. So I started watching these videos of something called Geoarbitrage, where guys who work and women who work on the internet, they go to a cheaper location, Billings, Montana. Can't think of all the places, but Tucson was one of them. Actually, I don't think it was one of them that they mentioned. I had a family friend living in Tucson, and she told me her rent for a big one-bedroom, comfortable apartment, very quiet, it was $600 a month. I think it was $580 at the time, so it was like $600 a month for a big one-bedroom, and it's quiet. Because my single in Brentwood was not quiet. It was like you had people on the walls, and people just kind of going crazy, man. It's like one neighbor had a coughing problem, and then he would smoke, and the smoke would get in my apartment. Then my other neighbor would like turn on the music really low, but you could just hear, so it was constant doom, doom. It was hell. And there were bed bugs in the building, not in my unit, but just real crowding going on in Los Angeles, man. I'm sure you've seen it in the news if you've watched it. So anyway, so I talked to my friend in Tucson, and I trusted her, and she just said, this apartment complex that she lives in is fine. It's not glamorous or anything, but you can get a large one bedroom, and it's quiet. And I was living in a single, like one room, really it's the size of my living room now, what I was living in. And I have a full kitchen and a big balcony and a big bedroom and a bunch, some other stuff too. So at any rate, I decided to make the move, and it wasn't easy. I just think it was a long time coming, so the decision came fast when it came, So, I miss my friends. I've been here for 2 years almost. I miss my friends. I miss my social contacts. I miss my spiritual group in Los Angeles. But I keep in touch with some of them over the phone. It hasn't been as much contact as I had hoped for when I left. But going back to why I chose Tucson, Tucson is it's not a city like Phoenix. Like Phoenix, I've heard, is like Los Angeles. Like, why would I want to move there? It's expensive and crowded and the rest. But Tucson is a kind of a smaller city, but it's still a city. Like, big companies are here. Amazon is here. 3M is here. Raytheon is here. And importantly, the University of Arizona is here. So that's, 40,000 students. It's huge, at the law school and all the graduate schools and everything else. So that's in the city. So it's not like I'm moving to a really rural area, that's mostly trailers and stuff in Alabama or something, which is not a bad idea. I'm just saying, that it still has a lot going on for it. So that's what I did, and it was a hard adjustment. I mean, this is the desert. I drove out here and my car broke down in a place called Blythe, California, and it was crazy. Had to wait for a new transmission to get sent there. And it's just the desert, man. I mean, there's no green trees, no grass, the birds are different. They have these wild boars here that I've seen in the street, on the street, whatever. And coyotes and stuff, they have that in LA too. But it's just the desert. So, that's one thing. The ocean in LA was like paradise, and my cat is doing her thing here, who I love. Hi, Isla. So, my cat's name is Isla. So, pluses and minuses, So I came here, and I made friends. I joined a similar spiritual group here. I joined a writers meetup, from meetup.com. They have like a science fiction writer. Science fiction is not really my thing, but they're an interesting group of people. You can go bowling here. There's a lot to do here. The same as in LA. The only difference is that the median income here is maybe, for a whole family is $3,000, something like that. So, you can get a decent house for $160,000 here, and that's crazy compared to LA, which I think, to get like a shack, it would just $800,000. Just the kind of debt that would hold you to in terms of property taxes every year if you had a property like that. So anyway, to sum up, it was the best financial move I've ever made, because I'm making the same money as I was in Los Angeles, even growing a little bit. But my expenses basically have gone down from, $5,000 it was getting up to I could get by on $1,100 here, and I'm trying to. So $5,000 in Los Angeles, $1,100 in Tucson. And I did a calculation on the compound interest calculator on my computer before I made this video for you guys. And taking that $3,100 difference in between it's $3,900 difference in between $5,000 and $1,100, and putting that into a conservative investment, that would yield 4% after taxes and inflation. 4%. Oh, baby, I hear you. That's my kitty. Hi, baby. Putting in $3,900, that difference, just saving that difference and putting into a conservative investment, you put it in for 30 years, you let it compound, that difference is $2.637 million. $2 million, $637,000. That's more than enough to start a retirement, man, So I'm trying to do my film work from here in Tucson, and I just feel better. I forgot. The apartment that I live in, $600. I asked them what the deposit was. It was $100. I said $100. I'd never heard of a $100. Even when I just moved to LA, $100. So $600 and $100 deposit. So, and gas is like $1 cheaper here, and there's more normal people here too. Like a lot of retail workers. Normal people. It's not the pretense. It's not the Ferraris and things like that you see on the west side where I was living. A lot of just incredible displays of incredible wealth. There's just incredible wealth in the real estate. Just all over Los Angeles. So I've flown into LA to do some work, and that's been fine. I miss LA, sort of. But I'm making friends here. I'm not sure if I'll stay here forever. I've been here for 2 years. I certainly will stay here until I get rich, because that's the only way I would move back to Los Angeles. You just can't live in any comfort, or I could live in any comfort or any civilized, relaxed way in Los Angeles. So I'm trying to do creative work from here. I'm able to do it because a lot of it's over the phone. But anyway, getting back to this notion of if you can work online or if you can work remotely for real, and you're living in a very expensive place, you can do your research and move to a cheaper place. And it could change everything. One reason I chose Tucson, I researched which cities in the United States have the greatest number of sunshine hours. And Tucson's like number 2 after a place called Yuma, which is not that far from here in Arizona. So by the way, I never thought I'd live in Arizona. It's fine, but I never thought I would. So nothing against it. So that's what I'm saying is if you feel trapped where you are, rents are extremely high, or you just, I just feel relaxed. I know, like, I'm never going to be on the street. I'm never not going to have savings. I'm never not going to be able to fix my car. I'm never not going to be able to pay for an emergency thing. I'm practicing being frugal and cutting my expenses, all the time. So, for example, I just cut my phone bill, switch carriers to a $15 carrier, and it's giving me issues. But just trying to do that, and because we live in a society where you have to have money. Everyone needs money, and so I guess overall, I want to say, I can never tell anybody to do this. It's a major thing. I don't know where your destiny lies. Good things, bad things, it can, are you fleeing something that you need to deal with where you are? Are you just, running from something? Was I running from something? Yeah, I was running from the rent and the pressure and maybe other things. I talked to my spiritual advisor about it, and he said, no, it sounds like you're moving for the right reasons. So, I bounce it off people. If you believe in praying, or if you pray about it. It's a huge change. But I just feel so much better. I have room to breathe, and I got a cat. I couldn't really have a cat in my old apartment, and I'm able to do artistic stuff here, and I'm able to make the same money, I'm not making super rich money or anything like that, but it's like, for here, it's good, So that's it. Think about it. It's called geo-arbitrage. If it's an option, and if you're thinking about it, think about it. Pray on it. It's a big deal. And when I first moved to Tucson, everything was new to me, and the streets were different, and I felt like, what did I do here? What did I do? Where did I come? I'm crazy. This was a crazy idea. This was insane. And I called my spiritual person, and he said, Jake, you don't know. Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? We don't know. You don't know. You don't know. You're having all kinds of judgments now. You just don't know. Just make it through the day. So if you're thinking about it, if you've decided on it, or you think that's the way the universe is pointing you, do your research. There's all kinds of towns, all kinds of things to offer, all kinds of weather, all kinds of everything. So geo-arbitrage, whatever. It's just moving to a cheaper area where you can do the same work, make the same money, and accumulate a massive percentage of your income to invest conservatively every month.